John Jobert from Brussels. This is the Rorschach, Georgia update from the 6th of February, 2025. Quick summary of what's going down in Georgia. Sunday the 2nd, pro-European demonstrators planned to block a highway at one of Tbilisi's entrances. Several days before, when the plan was announced, the Georgian Dream, or the Kotzebue, quickly added highways to the list of strategically important sites, making blocking them a criminal offense punishable by a prison sentence of up to 4 years. A massive number of police officers were mobilized to stop demonstrators from carrying out their plan. At first, they allowed people to march along the edge of the road, but after hours of protesting, the police started to arrest people. They were verbally aggressive towards women, used excessive force when arresting men. Kakheti, the head of the Special Task Unit, swore at the crowd through his car's megaphone and hit one of the arrested protesters. Over 30 people were arrested, 8 of them under criminal charges, including Gigi Ugulava, former mayor of Tbilisi. Speaking of Kakheti, on Thursday the 30th, Misha Kavelashvili, president of the Kotzebue, awarded the Order of Merit to several high-ranking law enforcement officials, including sanctioned figures like Vakhtang Gomelauri, Minister of Internal Affairs, and Kakheti himself. According to the government's website, they received the honor for their exceptional contribution to strengthening law and order. Yuck. Prime Minister Kakheti announced in December that he wanted to award them right after the massive crackdown on pro-European demonstrators when hundreds of people were beaten, tortured, and arrested. Since then, the US, the UK, and EU have sanctioned most of these individuals. Both Kakheti and Gomelauri were also listed on the US Magnitsky list, which targets foreign government officials involved in human rights abuses by freezing their assets and barring them from entering the United States. On that note, about Kakheti, he approved of President Trump's order to suspend foreign aid funding for 90 days, including programs funded by the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID. On Friday the 31st, he expressed his support for the suspension and hoped it would last much longer than 3 months. While USAID primarily funded government programs and transferred money to the government, including creation of Parliament's website, the ruling party was angry that some funds went to NGOs critical of them. Kotzebue said that the money was used to destabilize Georgia and train groups in tactics for overthrowing the government, which is what they refer to democracy as. But they said this because they're paranoid puppets of the Kremlin and mimic the Kremlin talking points. On Wednesday the 5th, the ruling party voted to revoke the parliamentary mandates of 49 opposition members, representing 3 out of the 4 opposition parties elected during the parliamentary elections. These parties refused to recognize the election results and requested termination of their mandates in November. The only opposition party that did not submit a mandate cancellation request was Gogi Gakharia's For Georgia, or Sakartvelostis. However, Kakheti has refused to enter parliament, denying it legitimacy. Formally, his party is the only reason the parliament is not a one-party body. This may change soon, as according to the law, if his party does not begin attending parliament by mid-spring, their mandates will also be terminated. In another move to fully consolidate power, Mamuka Mdinaradze from the Kotzebue announced plans to introduce new laws regulating the media. While details remain vague, Mdinaradze stated that the law would establish standards for media objectivity and journalistic ethics, along with institutional mechanisms to monitor and enforce these standards. It will also limit media funding from foreign sources. Mdinaradze added that work on the law would begin immediately, following British standards and legislation. The foreign funding restrictions are primarily aimed at stifling critical voices from online outlets that rely on Western grants and anybody else they feel like suppressing. In international news, on Friday the 31st, Robert Fico, the Slovak prime minister, said that Mamuka Mamulashvili, leader of the Georgian Legion, which fights in Ukraine against Russia, is behind anti-government protests in Slovakia. Fico stated that Mamulashvili is connected to the opposition party Progressive Slovakia and is helping them organize a coup against him. Mamulashvili denied any involvement, calling the allegations baseless, and said that they were part of a Russian smear campaign. Slovakia's interior minister banned Mamulashvili and people connected to the Georgian Legion from entering the country. Mamulashvili says that he last visited Slovakia 6 months ago and rejects any accusations of destabilizing its politics. Also on Friday, 4 members of the UK House of Lords, including Lord Mike German and Lord Don Toke, called for sanctions against Georgian oligarch Bidzina Ivanishvili, urging the British government to adopt a firm stance against those who undermine democracy and human rights. They criticized Ivanishvili's role in promoting Russian influence in Georgia and his involvement in suppressing democratic reforms. The call follows a similar move in the U.S., where sanctions were imposed on Ivanishvili. If the UK imposes sanctions, over 95 companies linked to his family, many registered in offshore territories, would be affected. So far, this proposal has garnered the support of 25 members of parliament. Khan Tania, senior official from the embassy of Georgia's breakaway region of Abkhazia in Russia, told the Russian news agency TASS that after the formation of a new world order is finished, more friendly countries will recognize Abkhazia's independence. He said the current global geopolitical situation is leading to a rise in new spheres of influence. Some countries are aligned with Russia, while others are joining the Western Bloc. Tania expressed hope that Abkhazia will establish new relationships with countries joining Russia's bloc. Russia recognized Abkhazia's independence in August 2008, followed by the recognition from Venezuela, Nauru, Nicaragua, and Syria. More about Abkhazia is on Friday the 31st. Leaders of 4 opposition parties signed a joint statement addressed to Syria's new leadership, urging them to revoke their recognition of Abkhazia and South Ossetia as independent republics. Syria had recognized these breakaway regions under Bashar al-Assad at the request of his ally, President Putin. The opposition also criticized the ruling party for failing to capitalize on the change of leadership in Syria and not seizing the opportunity to challenge the recognition. 200 workers employed on the construction of a highway in Georgia's easternmost region of Kakheti went on strike, protesting unpaid wages. Demonstrators in the Sagarejo municipality said they haven't been paid for 2 to 4 months and don't know when the debt will be settled. Construction work on the highway has stopped. The project is funded by the World Bank with a total cost of over 270 million lari, which is about $95 million, and is expected to be completed this year. The road department has not yet commented on the ongoing issue, saying that they are still investigating. On Tuesday the 4th, a child ended up in the hospital, allegedly after drinking Bakuriani mineral water, which is suspected to have caused the poisoning. The National Food Agency quickly started an investigation. The hospital confirmed the incident, but dismissed rumors that started circulating on social media about the mass intoxication of dozens of children, clarifying that only one child was affected and he's currently in stable condition. The company that owns the mineral water tested other bottles from the same batch, finding no issue. They also reviewed the entire production process, confirmed that no foreign substances were involved. The food agency is still inspecting the water bottling plant and conducting lab tests on the samples. Wrapping up with some cultural news, a movie by Georgian filmmaker and photographer Anka Gujabidze called Temore won the short film program at the Rotterdam International Film Festival in the Netherlands, also receiving a special award from Dutch film critics. The film is based on the debut novel Courier Stories by actor and writer Temo Rekviashvili. It combines elements of both fiction and documentary told through a black and white photo montage format. Story follows Temo, an actor who, due to financial struggles, works as a courier in Tbilisi. Throughout the day, he witnesses poverty, injustice, corruption, and alienation, which later manifest in disturbing visions at night. During the award ceremony on Monday the 3rd, Gujabidze talked about the tense political situation in Georgia, Russia's imperial ambitions, and the persecution of critical voices in her country. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. We hope you're enjoying the Rorschach Georgia Update as much as we enjoy making it. Any thoughts, questions, or ideas, send us an email at info@rorschach.com. Don't forget to subscribe on your go-to podcast platform. Nachmandis.